Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Studio Live today and Ask Me Anything for yet another week. Now, we have done two of these shows in 2 weeks for many reasons, some of which I'll let you know in a moment, but this is your opportunity to ask me anything that you want, whether it's about recording, home studio, home audio, Apples, Macs, although I've only just started using one of those, and producing music in the home or mobile studio, or just how many coffees I drink a day. It's about three before anyone jumps in and asks that. But I hope you're doing well. Hello to the folks we have here live. We've got, I'm trying it live on a few different Facebook places. So if you're in the Create, Record, Release group, hello to you. If you are joining us just on my regular Studio Live Today page, welcome to you as well. And I'm even trying to go to Twitch today. I don't even know. You check the Twitch stream and it's just like one of those what are those things called? The tumbleweeds rolling through, because I don't think I've even set it up properly. But cheers, coffee time. Because it is early in the morning. It is very early. It is 6:30 a.m. here. It will be midday for my folks on the West Coast, or 3 p.m. if you're on the East Coast, 8 p.m. if you're in London, and various times around Europe and Asia and everywhere else that we stream here. But if you have questions, we are going to try and give you answers here today. Quick g'day to the folks we have here live. We've got Langston Reese in the house here. We've got me. Wait, I'm me. We've got Desolate Morning. Hello to you, Danny Broderick. Jade Star, Nina, Doctor's Orders. Oh, okay. Doctor's Orders. We've got John Kell. G'day to you. Hope you're doing well. Benjamin Kelsey is here. Tom Rochelle, Andrew Marino Barlow. I like that name. And Gary Hubbs, and many other folks. Ed Z is in the house. Coldacre, Tom Kuehl, I hope you are doing well, and Short Cummins, Pando. Sorry, I'm trying to say hello to everyone. Rockstar 1958. Hope you're all doing well. If I missed you, I apologise. It's not deliberate. I'm going to firstly answer a few questions that have come in overnight, because if you're a member of the Create, Record, Release group here on, well, not here on Facebook, you may be here on Facebook, then I put a post yesterday where I said this. Ask Me Anything is live in 7 hours. Yes, I went to bed and then I've just got up to do the show. Got a question? Drop it below and I'll make sure it is on the show. So we're going to start by answering those questions. So there you go. There's a benefit of being a member of the Create, Record, Release. If you're not, head on over to createrecordrelease.com and you will be able to join the fun. We have nearly 600, or are we over 600 now? How many we got? 601. Congratulations. Give yourselves a clap, Create, Record, Release group. 601 members are all amazing folks who help each other out, who drive positive growth and development in music creation. That's what it is all about. That's what it's all about. Let's get into these questions. So Darren asks, hi Pete, do you notice any noisy mix if you merge tracks and import due to a lot of normalization? So yeah, it's a good question and a good point. So we're probably talking GarageBand iOS, but the same is the case in any other platform where you're using merging or anything like that. So I'm just going to turn my audio up a bit. I'm struggling to get the right level. So yeah, hopefully I'm coming through okay. Yeah, if you're merging tracks, or if you're basically, because what merging does is it normalizes your volume, right? So it pushes your peaks up to 0 dB. Now, any signal that you take that you make louder, it is going to turn up both the sound, and if there's noise, it's going to turn up the noise. So this is why I say it's crucial to get your original recordings at as close to the right volume as possible. If you want to err on the side of one, err on the side of slightly lower, and do increase it through normalization or merging or turning it up, but you will always turn up that noise floor. So the noise floor is that thing. If I turn the trim up here on my microphone, that's the noise floor, right? And everyone has a noise floor. It doesn't matter where you are, there's always going to be a noise floor, whether it's caused by just the general background noise, the traffic, your computer fans, other electrical interference. There's always going to be a noise floor. So yeah, if you can avoid it, Darren, if you can avoid turning up and merging your tracks as much as possible, then that's a good thing. You can always turn them down. I tend to merge a track and normalize and then turn it down, but it will introduce a little more noise. Something like Bruce Free, if you really can't avoid the noise, use something like Bruce Free, the plugin from Clevcran. That does a great job of noise reduction. Matthew Molina says, should every song you write be released? If yes, what does that mean? Does that mean we should release even bad songs? If no, how do you know which song should be released? What a great question. So Matthew, yeah, it's an interesting one because I say create, record, release, and a lot of folks say, oh, do I have to release everything that I create, or do I have to release it to Spotify and Apple Music and everywhere? And I probably should clarify that when I say release, I kind of mean let go of. So release is not necessarily in terms of release as in I've just released a new single, but release means let go of, which means finish. So yeah, technically it should be create, record, finish. And I do think that there's merit in sharing. So if you share on either the group, or if you share with another group, or if you share with friends or colleagues or whatever, I think that works well as well. So no, I don't think you need to necessarily release everything. I've over the last sort of 5 years, I've finished probably 50 to 60 songs, and I've released maybe 30 to 35. So yeah, it's probably about a 50% strike rate. And the ones that I haven't finished, I'll pop on SoundCloud or I'll just put somewhere. It doesn't mean that they're bad or that I don't like them, but yeah, I've put them somewhere. So I think releasing just means letting go of. So if you're writing a bad song, I always say finish your bad song. Joey Helpish did a stream and he did a song during this week. It's just like make something terrible and do it again, or make something crappy and do it again. Like, yeah, just keep doing it, keep going and keep doing. But really great question. So short answer, no. I don't think so. Tim Osborne, hello to you. Welcome. Firstly, sorry I've not been joining a live stream much. That's fine. Everyone's busy. We all live lives. My question is this. If I have a song section of a few instruments that I want to end with a short rising crescendo to a silent drop, how can I do this without using a riser? Can this be done in iOS? That is a good question. If you have a song section of a few instruments that I want to end with a short rising crescendo and drop, how can I do this without a riser? Yeah. So what I use, and a tip that I've heard from other folks that works well, is using reverse sounds. So I've got a video on the channel where I've got a reverse piano sound, so a piano roll that crescendos up. You can do reverse cymbals, so a cymbal that goes up. So I would look into reversing sounds if you want to build something, because yeah, that's basically what a riser is doing. It's like it's bringing you up, it's ramping up the energy so that you can have a big drop or a big crescendo. If you want that rising sound, play a piano chord, reverse that sucker, and you get that. Queen used that beautifully. If you listen to a lot of Queen songs, they didn't have risers. Like they couldn't hit a button on a synthesizer and get a cool riser going on, but they just reversed. They just flipped around. Freddie would play a big chord, and then they'd reverse the tape, and they literally had to play the tape backwards. So you have the benefit of digital, where you can go in and change it. I'm seeing the questions piling up in the chat, so we'll get through the last few here. In fact, let's jump to the chat, and I'll save Ben, John, and Melissa for the second half. So Ben, John, Melissa, thank you for asking a question, but I don't want to get so far behind the chat that I miss out on questions. Let's go back up. Now, we had a question even before the show started from Andrew, which was, will you finish my song for me, please? The short answer, mate, is no, and I'm sorry. I can't. I struggle with trying to finish my own songs at the moment, as you'll probably see if you watch the channel. And I'm working on projects for some of my customers. I never know what to call them. People what hire me to do stuff. So yeah, I'm a little bit backlogged at the moment. So I know it sounds really wanky, but talk to me in like January, February, and see how I'm going then. But yeah, unfortunately, and that's why the Create, Record, Release group is so cool, because there's 600 people there who won't necessarily finish your song, but you could definitely ask about if you need a singer or a guitarist or a drummer, or you want someone to collaborate. That's a good place to go. Langston says, have any of you guys used Bandlab? And I think there's been some folks chatting about it. I haven't. And there's sort of two. Is it Cakewalk by Bandlab is kind of the desktop software. I know my buddy Mike over at Creative Source uses that a heap. So if you are looking for Cakewalk by Bandlab, so you've got a PC and you want a free. In fact, I don't think I even have to. I should probably just. I bet he'll pop up. Yeah, look at this. He pops up as soon as I just put Cakewalk by Bandlab. You want to look for the yellow ones, folks. So look for these yellow top 5 features, mastering basics, Cakewalk by Bandlab. But yeah, there you go. Vocal comping, vocal thickening. So Mike, my buddy Mike over at Creative Source, does a heap of videos on Cakewalk by Bandlab, which is the PC version. I do believe there's other versions of Bandlab. I just haven't explored them, to be honest. It's not kind of in my wheelhouse. I've just gone from using iOS recording devices to finally recording on my Mac. So yeah, and I used to use Reaper on the PC. So if you're looking for a PC recording software, Reaper is pretty darn good too. Very, very deep, very high level. You got a lot of stuff going on there. Alrighty, let's scroll on down because I know I saw some questions. And yeah, if you do have questions, pop the word question in front of them. I don't think I said that specifically, but that will help me out. Do I have my little thing? No, I don't. I don't have my where is it? There it is. There you go. Got a question. Put question in your comment. So just put question at the front, and that means I'll be able to see it and spot it before I miss it in the chat. So you can do it just like, I'm trying to find the one that I just saw. Just like this person, Tom did. Hello, Tom. Is Cameron Green the next Andrew Flintoff or the next Sean Young? What say you, AMA? He's got that Flintoff build to him. Okay, sorry for 90% of the folks who may not know what Tom and I are talking about. So cricket, yes, the test cricket is happening here in Adelaide at the moment. I was there yesterday, which is why I'm doing this show today. So I did say I would explain a bit of why, because yeah, I spent 8 hours sitting watching cricket, because test cricket lasts 5 days and goes for like 7-8 hours a day. So yeah, I know. But no, I reckon he's got that Freddie Flintoff kind of feel to him, doesn't he? The all-rounder, big larrikin kind of bloke. Yeah, big buffy dude. So yes, I think Cameron Green could be the next Andy Flintoff. Hokey pokey, you do the hokey pokey and you turn around, and I agree, that's what it's all about. How you doing, Gway Gway? Check out Gway Gway's channel too. He always does really interesting stuff. So yeah, if you want to support other folks that support the community, Dr. Zorda's great haircut, right? You know, you can see the shininess of the lights shining in here. So yeah, shining off my... It's not even a bald spot anymore. That's the thing. When you shave your head, people can't tell you're going bald because what was a bald spot surrounded by hair is now just bald. So there you go. Here is how you do it. This is how you ask a question. Put question in front. What is the best way to record keyboard piano in GB? Single, mono, or stereo track? Really good question. And it really depends on whether you're recording the actual sound or whether you're recording in GB. So whether you're recording the actual sound or MIDI. So MIDI, obviously, it doesn't matter because MIDI you can change up on the fly. Let's do it. Let's go example time because I'm a bit proud that I have not only my Mac screen here, but I lashed out. I dove into the Studio Live Today funds, powered by Patreon. So thank you to my Patreons. You allow me to do things like this. And I bought the Reflector 3 for Mac. I had the PC. Here's the stupid thing. I had the PC version. And it cost $27 Australian, which is about, I think it's about $18 US, to buy the PC version or the Mac version. When Pete was using a PC, he bought the PC version. You know how much the universal version that you can use on either costs? $3 more. Literally, $3 more. So Pete saving himself $3 like 3 years ago meant that he now had to pay $27 instead of just sucking up back then. Anyway, let's talk about this. Because let's say that we're adding a piano track here and we've plugged in our MIDI keyboard. I haven't, but say you've plugged in your MIDI keyboard, you come in here and you're playing a piano track. We'll go to keyboards and we'll go, oh, there's so many keyboards these days, it's hard to find just your classical grand. There you go. So we've got our classical grand piano here and we want to play in a, oh, we got no sound. Let's turn up that knob. Oh, it's playing back. Let's turn up that knob. Yes, I'm a knob. Now, if you're listening, you're probably hearing that. That is stereo. Out of the box, the GarageBand virtual instruments are stereo. They're a stereo sampled grand piano, a Steinway, would you believe? So if I was to play this in, let's just come back here and mute out, because this is the export of my murdering time song. But if I was to come out here and just hit record on this and record in some piano... in C, of course, because that's how we roll, then you'll hear that the sound is actually stereo. It's already on a stereo track here, and it means that we can add in effects and we can add in stereo type effects anyway. So if we came in here and we started adding delays and stereo plugins, we would actually hear that that is definitely a stereo. Now, if you're talking about plugging in your keyboard and recording it, it really depends on what sound you're getting. So I've done 2 videos. I've done one where I show you how to do it just a mono recording. You can use basically anything to do that. You can use an old iRig to do that if you just plug out of the headphone jack and plug straight in using an instrument cable. But what I'd recommend is getting from either the headphone out or the line output of your piano or your keyboard, and then going into a 2-channel stereo interface. So something like the Steinberg UR22C, Focusrite Scarlett 2i2. There's a heap of different 2-channel interfaces, and then you can just get 2 channels, pan one hard left, pan one hard right, and record in your stereo sound. That will give you complete control over the stereoscape. You can then pull them together to create a mono sound, or have them completely apart, or somewhere in between. So that's my tip there, is if it's virtual, doesn't matter. If it's an actual keyboard, plug it in using a 2-channel interface with something like a headphone out to a 2TS jack, or just if it's got RCA, you can go 2 RCA to 2 1/4-inch TS, and then plug those into the line input of your interface, and you will be off to the races and good to go. We'll continue scrolling on down. Scrolling on down. Hello, Dragon Mobile Gaming. Hello, Russ. Who else? Hello, Nick. So Nick, when I record directly into my UR22 on a bass or guitar with single coil pickups, I can't seem to get the input level high enough. Do I really need a line driver, or is there another solution? Yeah, so there's a couple of things. You could go through a direct box. So you could grab yourself something like a direct box, an active powered direct box. I've got one down here. Hang on. Something I prepared earlier that now I've lost. I don't have it handy. Do you ever do this? You clean up your drawers and then you can't find anything? Yeah, okay, here we go. Something like this is the Ultra DI. So this is cool because you can come in here either via a XLR input or via a 1/4-inch, and then you go out via XLR. So this way you plug it in through to your gear, and this will give you a little bit of a signal boost there, which is a good thing. So yeah, some sort of DI, direct input, direct box, can work for that if you're finding trouble. But yeah, apart from that, it's a common one, and it depends on your interface too. So the UR22 has good inputs, but yeah, it's not going to give you the biggest bang for buck when it comes to the signal coming through. The other thing is you could do it on the software side. So if you're going through an amp sim, you can use the gain and you can use the drive on the amp sim to actually turn the volume up. That tends to be what I do, because I'm kind of the same. My UR22C doesn't have amazing volume for things like bass guitar in particular. So I do tend to find that I just have to boost the signal by using the software side. Ed Z, I saw a question from you, my friend. And the question is this: do I need to stick with one DAW when creating, or is it practical to combine, e.g. Cubases in iOS, GBiOS, Reaper on PC? Yeah, so it's such a personal thing. So me at the moment, I'll answer this by saying what I'm working on at the moment, and that is this project here. So this is my song "Murdering Time." If you saw yesterday's show, sounds like this. Nothing to gain. So this is a song that I recorded on GarageBand on my Mac yesterday, and I actually wanted to play around with it, and I have a video coming soon showing it all. That's why I wanted this setup, because I've now got the flexibility to have my iPad right here, and if I load up, if I type in GarageBand here on my Mac, I can actually load up my my Mac GarageBand and that GarageBand at the same time. So it's going to load this same project here. So here's the original project, right? So I can play this back, except the output's not set right, is it? No, it's not. So yeah, so if and when I'm set up properly, that will be playing back there, and then when I come to here, I can then show my iPad at the same time. So the challenges are that unless they're directly compatible, you're going to be doing a lot of bouncing around. So the thing is, even GarageBand Mac going back to iOS, This is what it does here. So see how this is just a merged down track? This is the only way to export from Mac to iOS. You can't export individual tracks and can retain all the track settings. So I've just been playing around with that to see how it goes. You can go the other way, so we can go from iOS into Mac. So what I'm going to play around with hopefully today is recording some additional instruments here on the Mac, just along to this backing track, on the iPad, along to this backing track, and then sending it over to the Mac, and then seeing if I can bring those individual tracks back into my Mac version. Just because I know a lot of folks are using a Mac and an iPad or iPhone, and finding that workflow is important. The using Reaper or using Cubases, yeah, again, it's doable. And the one place where I do tend to do that is mastering. So before I started using Final Touch to master here on my iPad, so if you're not familiar, Final Touch is a mastering application, very, very cool, by Positive Grid. Looks like this. You've got a heap of control here over your mastering. Before I started using this, I actually did export the final wave file to my PC, threw it into Reaper, and used the plugins that I was more familiar with in Reaper to do my mastering. So I think it can, but I think there's kind of three things. There's your songwriting or your original demo recording. There's your tracking or your actual recording of your song. And then there's your mixing. And then there's your master. I guess there's four. So I wouldn't try and do one of those things in two different platforms. I think you're going to add a lot of effort. But if you say wanted to record your demo in GarageBand, then you wanted to do your actual tracking in Cubases and mixing Cubases and then push it out to Reaper on your PC to master, I think that's totally fine, as long as you're sort of following through those processes. But yeah, that's my 2 cents anyway, for what it's worth. Let's jump back to GarageBand over there and bring us over here. But thank you. It's a really good question. And what do others think? I'd love to get other people have their feedback on that. Jean says, how do you stop Medit tracks from echoing in the next song section? Oh, okay. Yeah. Automation, volume automation. If you've got something that's echoing, so say you've got a delay or you've got a reverb on something and you want it to cut off instead of hearing that trail, volume automation. Throw your automation on. In fact, let's just show you a real quick version. So volume automation, if you've never used it before, let's just say that we wanted in this piano part, we'll just solo it for now. So we'll play this piano. And at the end, you're going to hear that this last note, hear how it's got a bit of a tail of reverb. If we wanted this to completely cut off at 5, we can just come in here, tap on the piano, tap again, and whatever platform you're using, it'll be a similar thing. You just want to get volume automation, and we want to grab the volume and tap it here, and tap, turn it on in the top left, tap it again, grab this one and drop it to 0, yeah? So, and you can do that either an immediate kind of drop, so if we bring this directly above it, it's going to cut off immediately, or you can give it like a little ramp down, and that's what most folks would usually do. So now if we play this section, this last note, hear how it just ramps down at the end there, and there's completely no sound by the time we hit that 5th bar marker. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. So yeah, and same thing, if we just want it to completely cut off, just bring your volume directly above, and then this time, as we play it, gone, right? See how the volume just goes punk straight back down. So that's my recommendation on that. Volume automation for the win if you want to stop that bleed that you get across with reverb and delay in particular. Works a treat, I can promise you. Hello, Gary Hubbs. Can't reply at the moment. Yes, Gary Hubbs can't reply because Jade has actually put a restraining order out on him because he wouldn't give back her barbecue, and she really needs it because she's cooking some shrimp. She's throwing some shrimp on her barbie this weekend. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, don't worry, neither do I, and I feel that Jade and Gary don't either. Hello, how are you doing? I'm doing great. I'm doing marvelously, thank you. I have coffee, and I have wonderful people to talk music with, so you really can't go wrong with that, can you? I'm scrolling on down. I'm looking for the word question, because if you do have a question, pop the word question in front of it. Question from Rico. How can I record my Yamaha PSR 3000 on GarageBand using an iPhone? What an excellent and specific question. That's how you ask a question, people. You give me the detail, you give me the specifics, and then I know exactly what's going down. Now, if I could work out how to get to my other Chrome tabs here in the Mac, I'm just going to have to open a new one. Because I don't know where they've gone. I'm still navigating. I'm still bumbling my way around the Mac, so you'll have to forgive me there. So the first thing I need to do is work out. Now, the Yamaha PSR 3000, I'm just going to do a quick search on that one and see. Yeah, so the Yamaha PSR 3000 is a pretty decent bit of kit, so it's probably going to have MIDI. I'll just open it up over here. Here it is. Oh, it's a hefty bit of gear. It's 2.5K. Nice. All right. So what I'll do is I'll have a quick look at this, and we'll look at the ports on the back, because that's where we need to go to find out. Zoom in on those ports, Pete. Yeah, you got both MIDI and USB, so you're covered. So if you've got MIDI, USB MIDI, all you need to connect to your iPhone is, drum roll please, say it with me people, say it with me. I don't have it. It's in my kit bag. All you need is a Lightning to USB 3 adapter. It looks, oh, actually here's one. It looks like this. This is the single port version. I recommend the Lightning to USB 3 adapter that has the extra Lightning port in there so you can power up your gear, but it's not essential. If you're using something that is externally powered, you could get away with this, but get the genuine one. This has a Lightning connector, which means it plugs in via Lightning there. It then gives you a USB port there. You plug that in to using the USB cable, just a standard A to B cable that either came with your keyboard or you can pick one up. They're the same cables you use for printers. That little, you can't zoom in on this. Oh, can I? Yes, I can. Zoom. That's Zoom. Good one. Yeah, there's a little square one there, a little kind of square shape. That's your USB-B. That plugs into this USB-A, and then it just gets recognized. So GarageBand, Cubase, Audio Pro, whatever you're using on your iPhone, it will just recognize that you've got a MIDI keyboard plugged in, as long as you are using, as I say, the genuine, say it with me folks, the genuine Apple Lightning to USB adapter. And if you want to know where to pick one up, down there is where you need to go. studiolivetoday.com/gear. I've got links to everything you need, and if you just look under that section, in fact I'll show you where to go. I'll tell you where to go and show you where to go. So studiolivetoday.com/gear, you will land somewhere like this. That's really zoomed out. Come on, let's, whoop, I'm zooming the wrong one. And yes, you can subscribe to the mailing list. See, it's the first time I visited my own site here on the Mac, so I'll just zoom on in. So yeah, if you're here on the gear guide, there's all the different links you can go to. But yeah, this is my setup. And if you go here, Lightning adapter, this is the one we want. Click on one of the links there, and wherever you are in the world. And if you're in the US, this is where you can get it from $39 from sweetwater.com. So that is what I would recommend, and how you can get yourself hooked up with your MIDI gear. And the other thing is, if you've got the old MIDI, old style MIDI ports, which you do, then on that keyboard, you can use another adapter. So you could use a old school MIDI to USB adapter, or you could use something like, in fact, that's another option that would be really good for you. Because you've got that MIDI out, if you use something like the iRig, so the iRig Pro IO is something I recommend too. So this one here is an audio interface and MIDI interface for iOS, Android, Mac, and PC. So this thing's great because it's one device to rule them all. It's $150, and you can get the 2-channel version for $200. But as you can see there, it's actually, as you can see there, it comes with all of this stuff. So you can plug it in via USB, via Lightning, or you can plug MIDI directly in, MIDI in and out directly on this little sucker. So yeah, very good bang for buck device if you want to record MIDI and audio on your own stuff. All right, let's scroll on down, and we'll see. That was our friend. Who asked that question? I'm sorry, I've scrolled past it now, but hopefully that helps you out. That was Rico. Thank you. Rico, David says, can you export a GarageBand project directly into Cubases, or do you still need to do stems? You'll need to use stems. Cubases and GarageBand don't talk nicely, unfortunately. You'll need to export individual stems, which are just individual WAV files of each of your individual tracks. It's not a super simple process to do. There's a video on the channel. If you search my name, Pete Johns Export Stems, it will show you how to do it. Question from Dill Taco, like that name. Question, when did you get into music? What introduced you to it? Yeah, what went in your life? So I got into music. I used to, I've told this a few times, not all the details, haven't done my whole life story, but yeah, used to love listening to music, records and tapes and things. Family were always listening to music, old school sort of 60s and 70s tunes, so that kind of got me started. At age sort of 9 or 10, I started listening to my own sort of music, so I was into kind of whatever was popular on the radio then, and then as I went through my teen years, it was all about the alternative grunge, and that's where I kind of really got into it, bought a guitar, started playing in a punk band, and the rest, as they say, is history. So that was kind of where I got into it. What introduced you to it? Yeah, so it was really family. And every time I talk to someone and ask them that same question, it seems that, and this is why I'm trying to positively influence my children into music, because it's almost always family that get people into music. And if your family love music, there's a very good chance that you'll love music. Not always. Some people just come out of nowhere, but more often than not, it's what you're introduced to at a young age by your family. So that's where I got there. But yeah, thank you for the question. Good stuff. All right, question from Ross. Is your Christmas YML next week? Don't want to submit a Christmas track a week early. Yes, it is. So I will. So tomorrow, if you're not familiar, Your Music Live is a show where we play your music and we do it live. So we have a regular show tomorrow. So this time tomorrow, I'll be spinning your tracks and playing those. So if you have a song you want to share, email me, pete@studiolivetoday.com, put YML in the subject and a few lines about your song, and we'll give those a play. And then I'll be announcing tomorrow. I didn't want to announce it early because then I would get flooded with Christmas songs and then I'd have to wade through and work out which ones are Christmas, which ones are not. So the following week will be our Christmas show, except it will be 3 days early. Just to confuse the crud out of you, it'll actually be 3 days early. So because it's Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, and I didn't want it to be right in amongst that, because I know a lot of people have a lot of stuff on, including myself. So we're doing a early edition. And yeah, the good news is that DistroKid are on board as well. So they will continue to be supporting the channel and the show, which is great, great news. It means I can continue bringing the show to you, because I can keep the lights on. I know I use this joke a lot, but this is what it looks like. This is the lights off, right? This is what I'd look like without the help of you folks, without my patrons, without the sponsors of the channel. But thanks to you and them and everyone, I get to look like this, right? You're literally keeping the lights on. Tom Rochelle says, I thought Bandlab for iOS may be fun to play around with, but you're better off with GV or Cubase. Yeah, I've never played with Bandlab. Is Bandlab legitimately an app on your iDevice? I've never actually explored it. Let's go to the App Store. I believe it is, but again, I've never played with it, and it's just a timing thing. Like a lot of people have said, why haven't you tried Core Gadget? Why haven't you tried? Oh yeah, there you go, Bandlab. Oh, I've downloaded it before. Let's jump over here, and I'll show you what it looks like. So yeah, I've definitely downloaded it before. So let's just tap there. And it's like a collaboration thing as well, I think. I think it makes it easy for you to create. And yeah, so Music Maker and Recording Studio. So I've literally never opened it. I've obviously downloaded it before, but I've never actually opened it up. There it is. Oh yeah, so I'm going to have to sign up. So we won't be doing that today. But yeah, I play around with it. And if you think it's something I should definitely cover, by all means, let me know. Oh, sorry, I'm struggling. I'm forgetting how to, breathe and talk at the same time. It's a problem I have. David Johnson says, if you've already recorded a stereo electric piano with an annoyingly wide pan, can you turn it into mono? Yeah, absolutely. So remember, all panning is the volume control on your left and right channel. So if you want to convert something to mono, you can either just pan it up the middle, just so separate it out, separate the stereo out into 2 tracks and pan it up the middle. If it's on a 1 stereo track and you don't want to convert it, you can use a widener, but kind of in reverse, a narrower, to try and get more of a narrow sound. But the easiest way is to just grab the file and convert it. If you can't convert it in whatever DAW you're using and you're on iOS Audio Share, we'll let you convert stereo to mono. That's a really easy way to do it. If you're on the PC or the Mac world, Audacity has a built-in audio converter to convert from stereo to mono. So yeah, if you're on iOS, you want to convert stereo to mono, Audio Share, it's about a $4 app, I think. It's very, very much worth buying. And if you're on the PC or Mac, Audacity will let you do it for sure. Hey, Jimmy, hi from Saratoga Springs. Is that down Florida way, I think, Saratoga? Am I making that up? I don't know. I'm not great with my US geography. All right, I'm going to come down here. Danny Broderick, could you come out direct out from a guitar amp? You can. You've got to be really careful. It's going to be a really hot signal. So turn everything down. Whenever you're doing anything guitar amp related, pedal related, anytime you're amplifying a signal, turn everything to 0 and very slowly and gently turn it up. Otherwise, you can risk blowing out your gear and your ear. The first one can be replaced. The second one can't. Enough said, right? Question. Yeah, I think we answered that one to Jean, but yes, thank you for putting the question in there. Can you please answer that? Sure, SM7B worth it as compared to SM58 when it comes to vocal singers? I actually haven't used an SM7B, but I've heard good things. It's a lot more expensive. I think you need to be you need to be at the level where you've mastered using your SM58 and getting really good quality, both vocal performances and recordings, to move into the SM7B. With an SM7B, you're going to pay, what, 3-4 times as much for the microphone, and then the level coming into your recording is going to be lower, so you'll need an inline amplifier, something like a FET head or a Dynamite from SE, in order to boost the volume. So I haven't got one yet, so I can't really comment on that. But other folks who have say it's good. My friend Sarah Newen, who has her own channel and talks about live streaming, she has one and she loves it and she sounds great on it. So there you go. OML can't seem to find the music policy for copyrighted music in YouTube Studio. Have they moved it? Worse than that, mate. They have removed it. So they struggled. They couldn't keep up with everything because there's so much music coming out, and they were getting so many false positives and so many people saying, your music policy thing said that this song could be used for copyright. And then, because the thing is, people can change their mind. Like, people can allow you to use their songs and not bring them down, like not issue takedown notices or not issue copyright claims, and then they can suddenly decide to. So because there were literally tens of thousands of songs on that list, YouTube just said, too hard basket, they dusted their hands and they walked away. So unfortunately, yeah, I know I've got a video about that, but it's, it's no longer the case that it even exists at all. No worries, ZZ. Yeah, pros and cons from real-world use. Exactly. So this was the question about using multiple different DAWs. Yeah, just keep in mind that you don't want to make it more complicated for yourself. I think sometimes the temptation is, oh, I really want to use this thing, but then you're spending so much time bouncing your tracks around, you're not actually spending time producing, and for the benefit you'd get from the other platform, it's not really worth the additional work to do it. Tom's provided some information there about the SM7B, which is very good and exactly right, and what I was saying too. G'day, Kim. I'm having a really hard time recording dynamic vocals to make them sound good. Even when I'm not clipping, I'm using a dynamic mic. It sounds distorted. Any advice? Yeah, so this is the this is the constant battle, and no, they're over there. The constant battle with especially a dynamic mic is getting that. I think the very first question we had is getting that balance between the level going in being loud enough, but also not not having to turn it up and generate noise, because there's a very fine line, as you've pointed out here. There's a fine line between getting the audio sounding good but too low volume, and then you try and turn it up to bring it into your mix, and it sounds terrible. Yeah, the key to this is usually, in my experience, is to get your compression setting right. So to get your level going in right. So make sure that you're hitting between 50 and 70%. It's tempting, especially with a dynamic mic, make sure you're not turning up your input gain so you can hear it in your headphones. Turn up your output gain. Turn up the volume going into your headphones as opposed to the input gain on your mic. That's something I see a lot of folks do that creates a lot of distortion, is they're like, oh, this sound isn't as good as I want it, and they turn up not the output but the input gain. So make sure you're turning up the output gain, and then turn everything else down. When you're singing with a dynamic mic, if you've got all your other instruments, so you've got a big bed of stuff, like it was the case on my song that I was doing yesterday. I had to turn all the instruments down to get enough volume through my dynamic mic to hear it in my headphones without having to turn it up a bunch, yeah? So I think it's weird. Turning everything down actually helps with your overall volume balance. People do, think the opposite way. They turn it up. It's actually turning down that can actually help you. So I know that was a simplified version of that, but yeah, maybe we'll share some more. If you're ever on Create, Record, Release, maybe we'll share some more info. Maybe that's a video I need to revisit in the future. But thank you. Thank you for your question. All right. Scrolling on down and seeing if we have any others. Please just put question in front of the question if you do have a question, because it's going to be hard to find otherwise. So one here, Terrell says, hi Pete, I'm having trouble getting my GarageBand tracks into MP3. I'm doing it on my phone. You want Voice Record Pro, my friend. It is a very cool app. It's called Voice Record 7. So it looks like the little orange one there, Voice Record 7. There it is, Voice Record Pro. And what this can do is it's a voice recorder, but it's also a converter. And this is the best way for free to convert to MP3 on your iPhone or iPad. So check it out in the App Store. I've got a video on it. So if you search my name, search Pete Johns Convert MP3 app, and you'll find the app that I recommend for converting to MP3. Zelda Watcher. Hello, I made a few musics on GarageBand for an album creating. What should I do? I'm a complete beginner to these situations. I only use GarageBand for instruments for tracks. Yeah, make music and share music. Sorry, that's probably not a specific enough question for me to really answer. But yeah, if you're recording music, keep recording it, learn how to mix and master it and get it sounding as best it can, and then share it with the world. That's what it's all about. The hokey pokey. Question from Craig. What can I use to record piano and export MIDI files on iOS? I've used GarageBand for years, but it doesn't do it. Yeah, Cubase 3. They're about to update to Cubase 3.2. It is a paid app, but it's what is about $30 US, about 50 here in Australia. It's a great option, and it gives you a lot more control over MIDI for recording MIDI and for exporting and importing MIDI tracks. Audio Pro is another good one as well, but yeah, no, GarageBand doesn't and probably never will support MIDI, alas. Question from the Martin brothers. In your opinion, what level of Apple iCloud storage do you recommend? I can only really talk for me. What I use, I have the 2 terabyte version, so I pay 15 Australian dollar bucks a month, and that gives me 2 terabytes of 2 terabytes, gigabytes, terabytes, yeah, 2 terabytes of storage. So for me, that's enough for all of my devices and all the devices of my family to back up, which is the most important part, as well as a heap of space. So all my GarageBand projects, my iMovie projects, my media files, all of that stuff is plenty. So, but yeah, there's the in-between one, which I think is $10 Australian a month for like 200 gigabytes. That wasn't enough. That was never going to be enough for me, because once you back up a couple of iPhones or an iPhone and an iPad, you've basically run out. So yeah, I would go the 2 terabyte option for me. Brad Example says, thank you for everyone who helped me out last week with the issue I was having. That's what makes you all so great, willing, help, and knowledgeable. Yeah, so hopefully you're on the right track, Brad. And I know that you and other folks, when you've had issues, jump into the Create, Record, Release group. There are so many people there that are just super willing to help. And as much as I'd love to personally help everyone, and that's why I do these shows and it's why I do Home Studio Q&A, I just simply don't have the time. You know, I've only got 24/7, and I don't want to spend 24/7. As much as I'd love to, I do need to, sleep and eat and, see my family occasionally. So unfortunately, I don't have all of that time. Michael Zizzy Lamban, yeah, Voice Record 7. That's a free app. That's what you go with. Everyone's jumped in on that. 100% you want Voice Record 7 to do your converting. It's definitely a good piece of kit. All right, I'm gonna have to just be harsh and just go with folks who put question in front. So apologize if you've asked something and I haven't answered it. Go back and put question in front of it, and that way it'll help me out, because folks like Greg Hernandez have asked that. Good day, Pete. We love righty dokie. Where's that come from? It's an English, even though I'm Australian, it's a British thing, and it's rumored to have come from a show called Bottom, which is, if you know the young ones, it's Rick Mayall and Adrian Edmondson. So Adrian Edmondson played a character called Eddie, and he would say, righty dokie, matey skip. So it came from that. So righty dokie. And I don't even realize I was saying it. It was only when people in the chat started saying, Pete, what does righty dokie mean? And why do you keep saying it? I'm like, yeah, okay, I guess it's not a common thing. But yeah, righty dokie from British comedy. If you're a British comedy fan, check out The Young Ones, check out Bottom, check out Filthy Rich and Cat Flap, all of the stuff from that. Rick Mayall, Adrian Edmondson stable is all very good. Kev Hart's in the house. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. Hello, Brian Lehmann. Greetings from Chile. All the way from Chile. There you go. You might be the first person from Chile who has actually said hello to me, or at least that I remember. I'm sure someone else from Chile is going to be like, hey, Pete, you've talked to me all the time. I'm like, sorry, I forget. Come down here. Nick, hello, iPhone XR iOS 14.2 with Kurg Module Pro overheating. Any solution? No, I think 14.3 is out or about to come out, so maybe that's the solution. Yeah, I haven't had super overheating issues unless I'm literally in the sun with my phone. But because I don't use Korg module, I'm not sure. So maybe ask around the community and see how you go. Let's have a quick coffee break. You know what? So I don't forget, let's jump back over to Facebook, because we didn't answer the final few questions that we had from the phone. I keep losing my tabs. I don't know. I'm going to have to create it again. I'm going to find like 15 versions of hidden tabs like sitting behind here that I've just lost, because I can't work out when I've got two windows of Chrome open. I can't work out how to get to one and not the other, if you know what I mean. Don't worry. I know what I mean. That's all that really matters. Let's go back to create, record, release and find the other questions. So where do we get up to with these questions? I think from memory, we got up to here. Was it John's question? We answered Tim. So Benjamin. All right, Benjamin, hello to you. What are 2, 3, or 4 or 5 of your favorite guilty pleasure albums you should be embarrassed to admit you love? Really fun question, and I'm glad someone asked something like this. It's a bit fun. I like the technical stuff. I like all the questions I get, but yeah, it's always fun to just talk about different things like guilty pleasure albums. Right, Boys to Men's album 2 is one that I don't admit to too many people that I love, but that just has some such delicious harmonies in it, and I actually really dig all of the tunes on that album, so that's number 1. The Bloodhound Gang's album One Fierce Beer Coaster, for some reason, and look, the Bloodhound Gang hasn't held up well, right? You listen to the stuff now, and you're like, what on earth were we thinking in the 90s? How is this okay? Even in the parody style that it was singing about, how is this okay? One that's a guilty pleasure that, well, all of Weird Al Yankovic stuff. But I don't, some people say, oh, you're into Weird Al Yankovic? Isn't he that guy that just does those parody songs? Well, no, he's actually a genius and he does a whole lot more than that. But a lot of people think that that should be a guilty pleasure. I disagree. And Genesis, and again, I don't know if that's guilty pleasure, but Genesis, I actually bought on iTunes their Invisible Touch album the other day because, yeah, I'm really digging a lot of Phil Collins stuff, reading his autobiography at the moment, so that's probably another one that's in there. Anything else? Again, not guilty pleasure so much, but the soundtrack to the movie, An Interview with the Vampire. It's by Elliot, I can't remember his name now, I knew I'd forget, Elliot Gould or something, no, that's not it, but Elliot Goberthal, I think. But yeah, really good music. If you want some atmospheric movie music, the soundtrack to Interview with a Vampire. So, sorry, probably not guilty pleasures. But what are yours? Let me know. Let me know in the chat. And before we finish, we've got 15 minutes left. Before we finish the show, maybe we can chat about that. I think, hey, Wingy, how you doing? Thoughts on being an independent versus being signed to a record label? Always be independent. ABI, always be independent. It's a good question. So, and without going into a deep rant here, yeah, the industry has changed significantly. It's always been the case that a record deal didn't mean that you were going to be successful, and it didn't even really mean that you were going to make money. Because when you think about it, record companies, what do they have to do? They have to roll the dice. Say the record company signs 100 artists. They need 1 or 2 of those artists to completely blow up to cover the fact that 98 of those artists are probably not going to make it. So if you are one of the 98 that don't make it by the record company's definition, then you are not only will you not make money, you'll end up owing money to the record label who've poured money into you to promote you, to get you recorded, to get you touring, whatever it is. So when you think about that and you compare that to if you're independent, you don't need to be a big success. And I think this is the key point that a lot of folks miss, is that when you're independent, you can find your niche, you can carve out your niche, as I know you've done, Wingy, because you create great music, and you can find your fans. You can find your 1,000 true fans, and because you're independent and you're not paying a whole bunch of cash back to a label, then every success you get is yours. Whereas a label will say, hey, unless Wingy is in the top 2% of our stable of artists, then, they're a failure. And then you'll find 2 years in, you owe a whole bunch of money to them, and you haven't actually got anything for yourself. So tell me if other people have different opinions, but that's my opinion these days on indie versus non-indie music. I just think that there is so much more scope. And because you can do it all yourself, because you can do promotion through social media, because you can release through places like DistroKid, and you can record yourself in the home studio, there's not a whole lot left that a label can offer you. Back in the day when you were recording on a 4-track machine, and to get any sort of serious recording, mixing, mastering done, you needed a label and you needed those connections. Yeah, things were different. These days, I don't think so. Hello, Zindeo. Hope you're doing well. Now, the other question we had on Facebook to the Create, Record, Release group, John Kell. What do you know now that you wish you knew then? John, love it. Bring the philosophical stuff. I really enjoy it. So what do I know now that I wish I knew then, or that I didn't know then? Patience. Patience is the one thing that I've learnt over time, is to be patient and to make sure that, yeah, you're not putting so much pressure on yourself for everything to be done yesterday or today or tomorrow. Things take time, and if you're creating music and if you're trying to share music, Take your time, be patient. The unfortunate thing of our sort of society these days and our online social media society is that we want everything. We see things and it looks like things are instant, but you don't actually see the behind the scenes stuff. So that's probably part one of that. Um, I did have a thing that I was going to say, the other thing that I'd known that I didn't know then, but it's escaped my head, which happens as you get older. But yeah, definitely the patient thing. And the other thing is the music's a two-way thing, right? So what early on, I probably thought that yeah, you share music and you put your music out there. Like music is like a one-way thing because you grow up and you hear it on the radio, right? And there's a song on the radio, and you like the band perform the song. No one had access to that band or to that artist or to those producers. Whereas now, everyone has that level of expectation that they have access to you. So probably a two-way thing, which is that, yep, be open to that. So that's why I read every comment on every video I do. That's why I put my music out there and ask for feedback, because I think that two-way conversation between artist and listener can really help. Engaging with other artists can really help. The other part of that, though, is you do need to be a bit selfish as well, which I know sounds a bit weird, but I think early on, what I didn't think early on was I didn't think about how to scale things. So I basically bit off more. I've written songs about it. I wrote a song called, I can't remember the name of it now, No Apologies. Because what I was doing before, I was apologizing for not being able to do everything for everyone. And what I was doing, and the song says, maybe I bite off more than I can chew, because I was basically doing that. At the risk of making someone unhappy by saying no, I would say yes, but then was unable to deliver on what I said yes to. So now I say yes only when I can, and I'm very guarded and protective of what I can do, because otherwise it's like that thing, like work will grow to fill the amount of time you have. So, and I know, like I caught up with John. Like John asked this question. I caught up with him this week because he wanted some advice about starting a podcast and about creating some business and some videos and things. And I said, yeah, absolutely. I got 20 minutes at this time, and I called John and we had a chat. And we did that. Whereas in the past, I probably would have gone, oh, this is fun. I'll sit in here and chat to John for 2 hours. And then, yeah, so I think it's just about being not regimented, but yeah, managing time, managing expectation. And if you say yes, but know in your heart of hearts that you're probably not going to be able to deliver, saying a very kind and polite no right up front is going to be the best option. And I think too many of us want to, and it's not that you want to please everyone, but too many of us go, I don't want to disappoint people. I've got this stuff that I want to share. So we all just say yes all the time. Melissa Perkins, hope you are doing well from here in Australia. What is your favorite feature in GarageBand Mac OS? This is a good question because I've just started using GarageBand on Mac. My favorite feature on GarageBand Mac OS so far, I did think about this yesterday. It's probably automation. So the ability to automate panning and to automate effects, which is one thing that we don't have in GarageBand iOS. So it is one of those things where, and I know there's workarounds, there's hacks, there's ways to get panning, but yeah, it's probably the thing that I would go with if there was one thing in the Mac that I'd love to see in iOS. All right, I'm going to come down here and try and find, because we've only got 10 minutes left. By the way, in 10 minutes time, we have a great interview over on Jade Starr's channel. So get yourselves ready for that. I think Jade's probably setting up, so she's probably not here in the chat. But yeah, if you in fact, why don't we, before I move on, let's just find that. Now that I've answered those, I'll find the link and I'll throw it here in the chat so you can get yourselves ready to jump over there and check that out, because it's The Wizard of Shredding Jeans with Jordan Rudess, who is the man from Dream Theater. And that's going to be a very cool interview. So I'm going to copy that link and I'm going to paste it down here in the chat. So if you're watching, I'm about 10 minutes behind on the chat, but if you're watching the chat live, it should have just thrown that link in the chat there. All right, I'm going to scroll back up because I've missed a bunch of stuff, and I apologize for that. Question from Craig O here. Oh no, Gary Hubs. Do you use shaving cream and a razor on your dome or just electric shaver? I find that after using a razor and shaving cream that I go much faster. Yeah, I probably should, mate. I probably should get the shaving cream and the razor, because I think it would reduce wind resistance, and especially if I then wore a red scarf and had the dome shaved with the cream, I think I'd find my speed would increase significantly, because I'd have the wind resistance and the red, which, as we all know, makes you go faster. So yeah, something worth thinking about. So Epic, the website. Question: is it possible to record a Billboard charting song on iOS? Yes. iOS. Here's the thing. It's ones and zeros, right? It's digital audio. It's ones and zeros, digital audio going in and digital audio coming out. So whether you're doing it on Pro Tools on a Mac or Reaper on a PC or GarageBand on an iPhone or iPad, it's the stuff you're plugging in and it's the music you're performing and putting in there. So I don't think, like, because I'll ask you a question. What platform was your favorite song produced on? The answer is you don't know, because the answer is it just doesn't matter. And that's my view on that one. How am I, Ben? I am fabulous, mate. I'm doing exceptionally well, but I'm sad because we've only got 6 minutes left to answer questions. So I hope that we can get there. Question, thanks. I've been looking at your videos about Cubase and Audio Pro, and I'm really conflicted between the two. Any brief advice on selecting one other than what you send in your videos? Yeah. I mean, if I had to choose one over the other, and I think I said this in the videos, I would go Cubase's. It just has a layout that is more workable for me. It's a little bit less overwhelming and daunting with some of its features, and the stability seems to be better. Plus, they're about to release version 3.2, which has some additional features and some additional bug fixes and stability improvements that should fix everything, or at least some of the issues they were having. So I would lean towards Cubase. Plus, Steinberg are really good people. They've been in direct communication with me and asking for my input, and that's always a good thing when you hear a developer that is directly engaging with their community. And as Tom says, by the way, if you don't get your question answered here today, I apologize, because as always, a heap more have come in. I need to do a 2-hour Ask Me Anything next time. But if you have more questions, go here. CreateRecordRelease.com. That is the best place to hang out. I know it's on Facebook, and you may not be a Facebook user, but you know what? We've had people that have signed up and started using Facebook just to be part of that group. You don't have to get into the memes and the political discussions and the cat videos and everything else on Facebook, or the weird high school stalkers. You can make your account private. You can make sure that no one can find you. And then you can join Create, Record, Release and just hang out with a bunch of cool people and listen to some music. There you go. Yes, Jordan Rudis is about to kick off the interview in 14 minutes. That was 10 minutes ago, so it's in 4 minutes now. So definitely jump over there. I've already thrown the link in the chat. Jamie says I'm having a hard time uploading my music on YouTube. Oh, that is not good. Provide some more details. Again, jump over to Create, Record, Release. Uploading on YouTube should be pretty straightforward and simple. So, yeah, let us know what problems you may be having. Rob B, on Mixbox, I can't find the guitar pedals. Please advise where they are. On Mixbox, they're just there. Let me just bring it up and I'll go into Mixbox. So Mixbox. So if you don't know Mixbox, it's made by IK Multimedia, and it is a plugin. In fact, I should be able to. I'll bring this up over here. We'll pop Jade down there, and I'll lose that again. So Mixbox is this one. Whereabouts? Oh yeah, Mixbox there. From IK Multimedia. If we embiggen it like that. So if you go in here to your channels, the guitar pedals are all like under here. So they're not specifically, like there's no section that's just guitar pedals. But for instance, if you go to distortion and then you go to distortion there, it puts that distortion pedal on there. So they're all just integrated into here. So you go to delay again, you want like that digital delay. Yeah. So it's kind of mixed up. They don't really differentiate between what is a guitar pedal and what is just another plugin or a processor. All right, 3 minutes to go. 3 minutes to go. Sean Cummins says, I enjoy your rants. What's your favorite rant that you've done? I do it regularly, Sean, and it's probably ranting about folks who say you need to do a certain thing to get a certain outcome. So whether that's you must have this device to record music, you must use this piece of software, you must be on an Apple, not a PC. I find those really humorous, and it's usually folks who have what's called sunk cost bias. So it's people that have poured a whole heap of money into one particular platform, and therefore they are doing everything. They're finding every possible reason why they made the right decision. And it really just comes down to the fact that, hey, just use what works for you. Don't worry so much about what other people are using. Provide your feedback, sure. But yeah, so ranting about that is probably the fun thing. Fun thing for me. Oh man, there's so many questions here that we're just not going to get to today. Question, will I ever post the first projects you ever did? Interested in seeing your stuff starting out. Yeah, so look, if you go back to 2016 and 17, all of my stuff is there, so you can already see it. But yeah, it would be interesting. What I am going to do, so in February, my 5 years on YouTube is coming up. So I'm going to do a bunch of fun retroactive stuff where we're going to go back and look at my very first projects, and yeah, that's the sort of thing that I want to focus on. So that should be a lot of fun. Is recording in a closet or recording in a larger space? Closet's usually better because you want to get better quality sound without all the reflections and the reverbs and the bad stuff. So if you have a smaller space with less reflective surfaces, I would always go to that. What's the most important piece of gear for you to create music? It is probably my iPad. So because I use the iPad for recording, having my iPad Pro is probably the game changer bit of gear that we've had that I've been using in recent times. So yeah, I would go with that. I'm really sorry that we're going to have to finish up there because I need to run, and Jade is about to start her interview, and we didn't even talk about some of the stuff like the AirPods Max and some other things that we'll be saving. But here, the good news. Tomorrow, come and join me here. Your Music Live is happening. It'll be a lot of fun, and we'll be playing music from the community, and then we've got home studio Q&A. So I do a 1-hour home studio Q&A show, so come along. If you didn't get your question asked here today, drop it in the comments of this video, or come along in 2 days' time. We do that home studio Q&A every week. Would love to have you there. Would love your questions. If you've got anything else that you want to find out about me and what we do around here, head over to studiolivetoday.com. Don't forget the Create, Record, Release Facebook group, the coolest place with the best people to hang out online, to communicate and to collaborate on your music. As we say at the end of every show, please be kind to yourselves, be kind to others. Peace out. Keep rocking, folks. See ya.